A backstage clash over bad blood, AEW dropping their game's developer, my review of Monster Night Raw, and more. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive videos over on our Patreon. Do you really hate Dominic Mysterio? Is piped-in crowd heat not enough for your burning rage against him? Or now you can use Dominic Mysterio to wipe your ass! Dirty Dominic Mysterio toilet paper is now available on WWE Shop, which Liv Morgan has promoted by posting. Enjoy, because this is the closest thing you losers will get to having Daddy Dom between your legs. Little laughing face emoji. And you might need Dirty Dom toilet paper when you your pants at how expensive front row tickets are for WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania tickets are set to go on pre-sale on the 23rd of October, which include the Elite package. Kenny Omega to WWE confirmed. Also, What I Call My Penis to WWE confirmed. That'll get you front row seats right in the middle of the hard cam, presumably next to Green Shirt Guy for the Go Home episode of SmackDown, WrestleMania nights 1 and 2, and the following nights, Ram, which is Raw After Mania. And it's yours now for the cheap price of just $50,000. Oh God, get me the Dirty Dom toilet paper. Before then, though, is this Saturday's Bad Blood Premium live event, and a neatly minimalist 5 matches on the card. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, Nia Jax versus Bayley, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, and New Blood versus Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. According to PW Insider, WWE's original plan was to have Punk and Drew headline with their big Hell in a Cell blow-off stipulation, with Bad Blood referencing the first ever Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels against The Undertaker at the same event 27 years ago. But the Wrestling Observer has been reporting that some backstage in WWE were pushing for Roman and Cody to main event the show, which has been successful, which was then booked to close the event. But now, everything is up in the air again. Following the release of AEW's first ever video game, In Development Forever, Fight Forever, in June last year, Insider Gaming are now reporting that the promotion is strongly considering finding a new partner after numerous issues with the company Ukes, who used to work with 2K on their WWE releases. The site alleges the game was over budget, and AEW felt it under-delivered when it came out, with various bugs and a lack of depth. Kenny Omega reportedly hated working with Ukes, and some felt they took advantage of him. No one was really happy when the game came out. Apparently, the contract between AEW and Ukes was for 1 year of post-launch updates, which has now presumably expired. According to the report, everything is on the table for negotiations, and AEW have sent feelers out to larger developers in the space. AEW have had another deal end, with them parting ways with their streaming partner, Bleacher Report. Anyone who had ever bought an AEW pay-per-view through Bleacher Report has recently received a message saying that their deal has ended and all purchased past events will be moved to Triller TV within the next 14 days. This could be because AEW is set to move all their pay-per-views to Warner Bros. Discovery's Max service in the US as part of their new deal, which is expected to be announced imminently. Before I get into my review of Monster Night Raw, though, what about Monster Night War? The 4th episode of Monday Night War, The Last Chance Between Luke and Pete, is up now exclusively on our Patreon. Sign up to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to watch the whole series so far and to help support us making everything we do. Here's a clip.
Monday Night
It's
Raw.
Raw.
It's Raw. MVP making his Raw debut.
Nice.
Looking to hopefully start a feud with Trick Williams.
Okay.
So let's see how this goes.
MVP wins.
On his first night.
In a
wins
1.5
the
star disappointing match.
That's going to be outperformed by my second match.
Cool. Love that. 1.5.
Great. Yeah. Great.
Huh. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Also, I don't know if the title was on the line there, actually, but
It wasn't.
it was. Okay.
No.
Now it's time for my review of hopefully the last ever 3-hour Raw in about 5 minutes. Fresh off his Intercontinental Championship win last Monday, Yeet, Jey Uso opened this episode Bret Hart style, wearing pink shades and being surrounded by kids, including his own son in Evansville, Canada. Yeet. Jey was so over with the crowd he arguably got too big a pop. He seemed overwhelmed by the response and momentarily forgot his words, so he mostly kept coming back to how much he loves everyone and the word yeet. Bron Breakker came out to reveal he's not here to spoil the party because he's a babyface now, and he shook Jay's hand without a single cheeky tug. Xavier Woods, meanwhile, is spinning in the other direction of moral alignment because that man's turning heel. After snapping at Rey Mysterio last week, they wrestled a match here. It brilliantly ended as Rey's mask slipped off his face, which Woods took advantage of, rolling him up for a pin. He didn't technically cheat, but he sure did exhibit gamesmanship. Xavier tensely denied he did it intentionally to Kofi backstage, so Kingston revealed he got Woods a shot at the Intercontinental Championship next week. Suddenly, Woods was back to his happy self until later on, where maybe, or maybe not, he cheated again. American Made were interfering in the Chad Gable vs Kofi Kingston match, so Woods thought he'd even the odds by tripping Gable behind the referee's back. But that ruined Kofi's potentially match-winning Trouble in Paradise move and let Chad hit the Chaos Theory to win. Woods looked distraught that it cost his friend the victory, particularly as Kofi had just given him his IC title match. This is an excellent slow burn character drama. Unfortunately, WWE used up all the character depth on the New Day because the random women's division feuds are utterly shallow. The Pure Fusion Collective, oh God, it's such a terrible name, interfered to help Zoe Stark beat Lyra Valkyria. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter returned to make the post-match beatdown save, meaning even when the PFC win, they still don't stand tall. And Katana and Kaden shouted at the Unholy Union over wanting the tag titles afterwards in the least threatening way possible. Credit to Adam Pearce. He might not be able to protect people in the front row of a monster match, but he sure did keep his promise of not having CM Punk and Drew McIntyre brawl ahead of their Hell in a Cell match this Saturday. Both men stood across the ring from each other in the steel structure, separated by Pearce and a line of security. Drew wore all black out of respect for Punk's wife, who will have to feed him through a tube from now on. In contrast, Punk wore the good guy all white. As the third match in their feud, they fascinatingly seemed resigned to their fate. They both hate the men they've made each other become. Punk has been living in a hotel for the past 4 weeks to not subject his wife to the man Drew's turned him into, and they just want it over with in this feud-ending stipulation. Drew wants his hate to die with Punk this Saturday. He wants to be released from this obsession. This was a very effective downbeat final angle for their final match. Every goddamn time I get worked by the simplest trick in the book. 3 weeks in a row now, WWE have told me someone isn't at the show, and they've ended up doing a surprise interference spot, and I'm there like, ooh? This week it was supposedly having travel issues Finn Balor when he appeared to push Whackin' Wild off the top rope, letting Judgment Day beat the LWO in a 6-man tag. Finn cut a promo on Priest afterwards, saying it was always Damien who needed the Judgment Day, not the other way around. Liv Morgan was about to have her turn on the mic when Rhea Ripley interrupted and Priest attacked the faction from behind. Rhea and Liv brawled off after Dom was smashed into the shark cage, but the 3-on-1 numbers game was too much for Priest and Judgment Day stood tall. Unlike the Punk vs McIntyre feud where I'm ready for their final match, I feel like the Judgment Day story peaked last month, and it's overdue for all involved to move on. Sheamus challenged Butch to a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. WWE paid their respects to the sadly passed Pete Rose, who genuinely had one of the best WrestleMania rivalries of all time with Kane. Io Sky and Kairi Sane challenged Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill to a tag title match, which feels like they've been doing for weeks. There was a Wyatt Six video with the usual spooky cryptic stuff. And it was sadly announced that Ilya Dragunov potentially tore his ACL in a house show match with Gunther over the weekend, putting him out for 6 to 9 months, which sucks. I'm surprised they didn't lean into that more in Gunther's in-ring promo next, where he could gloat about injuring Dragunov, building a match for when he returns. Instead, Gunther focused on being annoyed by Sami Zayn continuously asking for a title shot. This brought out Sami, who said all the usual stuff, that he's the only one who's beaten Gunther, that Gunther's afraid of him. So it was Gunther who added the new wrinkle to their story. He's got Vata issues. Gunther's family were also at ringside at WrestleMania, and his dad asked him afterwards why he lost to that bum Sami. It was craving his father's approval that seems to have been driving Gunther ducking Sami, but it snapped here. He laid out Zayn with a powerbomb, and a match was made for next week's Raw, which I actually really like. Rather than cram Bad Blood, it gives Raw its third major TV main event in 3 weeks. I'm currently not sure about Gunther's character development though. He's the sort of archetype that doesn't really need his deeper set psychological issues explained. Hopefully we get just a simple hoss fight story post-Sammy, as it was Bron Breakker who walked into a Gunther backstage interview later on to stare at the world title. His Intercontinental Championship reign might not have been all that long, but it might not matter if it was just a slingshot to the main event. R-Truth returned in a backstage skit to reunite the Awesome Truth with Miz, and he's got them a match against AOP, which is the Authors of Pain, which Miz thanked him by turning on Truth as soon as he got the hot tag. It didn't feel that impactful, but the story has been well told, and I'm curious to see how Miz now works with the Devil's Advocate Karrion Kross. And now it's time for our main event, putting the Raw into Monday Night Raw. Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed in a last monster standing match. 1 minute in, Braun chokeslammed Reed through the commentary table, then Reed got pushed off the apron through a load of chairs. Braun hit a Death Valley driver off some production crates through a table in the crowd. Braun charged Strowman through 2 barricades, the second one wiping out a bunch of hopefully planted fans. Security and Pierce rushed down to help the audience, but it was merely kindling for this match's fire, as Strowman delivered on last week's setup, doing a top rope anti-air crossbody to the outside, falling with style. But Reed had a delivery all of his own. The always awesome monster superplex spot, which broke the ring. And just as Reed was about to stand up and win, a returning Seth Rollins ran in and hit the stomp on him, letting Braun be the winner. If you asked me who's winning this feud, every time I would have said Reed. He's the guy you're pushing. He's got momentum. He needs it more. Yet WWE right now is Phase 1 Marvel. They're a babyface promotion, and generally, the good guys win the feuds. Strowman got the win because another babyface helped him. The genius is that it still massively elevates Reed's in defeat, now setting up a much bigger program with Rollins. This was a very good go-home show. It just missed some more quality in-ring wrestling for me. This week's Raw is 73%. Joker 2 is out this Friday. Watch Luke and Laurie go through Batman season by clicking the video on screen now.